The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Ray. You are listening to a least worst of The Doctor Is In. We have no best of, but this is truly one of our least worst. You want some bad news, Michael?
No.
What are you asking me?
You're the guru of the gray matter. I figured if anybody had it, you'd have the answer.
I can't give you any direction.
I think I'm going to have to change this channel. I'm sorry.
You're completely wrong.
I refuse to be wrong on 2 calls in a row.
Tell me I'm spot on or tell me I'm crazy as all get out.
I have no idea.
I have a 6-month-old, so we'll be raising him according to Dr. Ray.
Talk about being a winner.
So, you want my question?
You ain't making any sense.
You're absolutely right. I just needed confirmation.
So what are you going to do about it, Dawn?
I'm calling you.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
What are you going to do about it? I'm calling you. Hey, this is not a least worst of. It is a future least worst of. I'm here in the flesh, in the real, after having been gone for 2.5 weeks, not by my own choice. Little upset at some of you people implying that I found something better to do, to not be on this program. That is not true. I'll fill you in here in a moment. But leave it at this. I didn't leave you of my own volition. It was pushed upon me. No, not by EWTN, not by Ave Maria, not by my wife, not by Andrew Kruchek, my producer man. No. My mother's genetics caught up to me. That's right. Well, let me give you the scoop here, because one of the things I've been noticing since I've been gone is that the restaurant traffic is way down. Too many children acting up. Without me here on these airwaves, you got kids acting up everywhere. I walked into a couple of restaurants and immediately turned around and walked out. Just immediately walked out. Kids were carrying on. They were running up and down the aisles. I heard one lady say, "Where's Dr. Ray? Where's he been? I tune in and all I get is those old ones and he's saying the same stuff. And I heard it before. They said it was the least worst of. I don't even think it made that." All right. It's the real thing now. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call to get onto the program. Very much would like to hear from you. Haven't heard from you in close to 3 weeks. Don't like that. I mean, the amount of calls that I get every show, 3 weeks worth of calls, that's close to 5 or 6 calls. So 877-57-EQUAL. You have a question about something in your life, circumstances, kids, job, stress, emotions, generic, faith, family, friends, rock, paper, scissors, whatever it might be. 877-57-EQUAL. I wrestled with this a lot. Didn't know exactly what to say about all this. Why was I gone? I didn't want to be gone. Let's put it to you that way. And I didn't want to be gone under those circumstances. So I had some pretty significant surgery. Now, I had to do a few things. I warned the surgeon that I was not going to go out under the anesthetic. No. Because I've seen a lot of them movies, you know, they talk about the surgeons and they do all this trash talking while they're operating on somebody. No, I want to be awake. So I just closed my eyes. They thought I was under. No, I was squinting. You could tell. Listening to them to see if they were trash talking me. Oh, you think this guy would ever bathe? Holy mackerel, has he ever bathed? And I kind of mumbled under my breath, "It's only November, leave me alone." And I wanted to be awake in case he screwed up. I'm going to be able to say, that doesn't go there. That is not the scalpel I would use. So I had a lot of fun with that. Came out of surgery. And my son was there, a couple of my kids, and my wife. And in softball, I am known as Ray Hobbs, not Roy Hobbs. Roy Hobbs was the natural from the movie. I'm Ray Hobbs, the unnatural. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be was the line from The Natural. I come out of surgery. Nurse says, do you know your name? And I went, Hobbs. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. Still there. So they were having trouble. They got the resuscitation tube down you, breathing tube. And those things are ugly, man. They put them down in there. You want to get them out of you because your gag reflexes. Get this thing out of here. I was a little disappointed because I kept trying to yank mine out, and they kept stopping me. And I'm thinking to myself, what? They didn't have to call security to stop me? They could stop me by themselves? How weak did I get? Well, my mother says, Ray, just think of a happy place. Just think of a happy place. What's a happy place? And I went, taking down the trash. So I was with it. I was with it the whole time. My mother has since passed away. However, the surgery that I had was because of long-standing genetics. I couldn't do anything about it. It was genetics. And I toyed with threatening my mother to sue her because of this. My attorney told me the statute of limitations had probably run out. So I was going to let her off with a warning. This had better not happen again. You got to take your stand. 877. Oh, good. Calls are coming in. I just recently did something for EWTN News Nightly. Last week, actually. Yeah, I had my pajama bottoms on the bottom and then a tie on the top. One of the great advantages of Zoom. You can look like you're super cool when you're a major dork. But we talked about this question coming up here from Roseanne in North Carolina, which we'll get to after the break. It's a question that I dealt with in a book I'm going to be releasing, God willing, in the early spring. How to get along with almost everybody. But we can talk a little more about that a little bit later. So 877-573-7825. 877-57 equal. Calls are coming in. That's very, very nice. In the words of Sally Field, you remember Sally Field, the Flying Nun? And I think didn't she play that twin sitcom? Forget it was. When they gave her this Emmy Award, she said, "Oh, you like me. You really like me." Well, these calls are coming in. I appreciate that. You like me. You really like me. So that's it. Good Lord permitting. In the words of Muhammad Ali, when he was toward the end of his career, they were asking him how he thought he could do. I want to take his perspective. I'm still quick, and I still got the punches. 877-573-7825. Very nice to be back with you. I'm Dr. Ray.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Are you paying high prices with a traditional health insurance company that pays for things that violate your conscience? There's an alternative available. Solidarity HealthShare is a community of faithful individuals and families that never share into immoral medical services, all while saving you money with prices starting as low as $85 per month for singles and $512 for families. Never fund another abortion with your healthcare dollars. Call 844-313-4999 to learn more.
When your children consider going to college, where are you going to find a place that will prepare them for the future and build on the foundation that you've laid? The answer? Ave Maria University. With an authentically Catholic curriculum, including 35 majors, AMU prepares students to take on the world.
My daughter told me she was published in a scientific journal as an undergrad. I'm so proud of her. The world needs Catholic physicists, and my daughter's going to be one of them.
Learn more at avemaria.edu. That's avemaria.edu.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Do you feel as though life is flying past you? Are you desperate for a way to find moments of peace and quiet? Lord, Teach Me to Pray, the free Ignatian prayer series, will open your heart to His voice, to the peace you are seeking and the only love that fulfills the human heart, Jesus. God is calling you to true joy, knowing Jesus personally. Lord, Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com, click on the red box, order the Lord, Teach Me to Pray series now. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com.
You are listening to a least worst of. The doctor is in. We have no best of. One more thing, and this is kind of pathetic. This is actually pathetic. A friend of mine came to visit me, and we were talking about how when we were younger, we would both brag about how fast we could go from first to third on a hit the right field. I was reduced to bragging that day about how fast I could go around the nurse's station in a walker. Yeah. Although, I do have to say this, she said I was the fastest. So I'm getting a plaque put up there right now. Eric, are you going over to Roseanne? Because I saw you put the little cursor up there, and oh, he's talking to Timothy. So Roseanne is there. Okay, I can talk to Roseanne. Hi, Roseanne.
Hi, Dr. Ray. Welcome back. I've missed you so much.
You didn't even know I was gone.
Oh, yes, I did. I listen every day, and I've been really eager to talk to you about this problem. And you were gone so long. I was really getting concerned.
I almost messed up your life, didn't I?
You really did. It's been so hard to be without you. Yeah.
Wow. Jack Wins, if you're listening, you mark down what Roseanne said here. So now, okay, so this lady that wants to come to your, is it a big Christmas dinner, like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day?
Yeah, Christmas Eve, Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Wow. Why does she want to come?
I do. Well, because, see, what happened was I invited her last year.
Oh.
And that was before I knew her all that well. And everybody else was very unhappy because I didn't know this, but they all knew who she was, knew her, and had previous experiences. And they're not going to come if she's there this year.
Oh!
And she up and invited herself.
It's that bad?
She invited her. It's that bad.
So we're not.
That bad.
Wait a minute. Are these your relatives who are saying we're not coming if she comes, Mom?
That's right. No, actually, they're not my relatives. They're friends, but they really, really don't like her. They've had very negative experiences with her. And you have to know, I've done this dinner for years and years with the same people, and it's kind of become my family where I live because I don't have family around. And so everybody loves it, and they really look forward to it. And now they're telling me they're not going to come if she comes. And
you
went
mean,
and
Roseanne, there isn't a single person in that group that says, well, I'll come anyway, I'll grit my teeth and I'll tolerate the woman for your sake, Roseanne? Not one in that whole group.
Well, the husband of one of the women says that, but she won't let him come alone.
That's true. You're not allowed.
Nope, that's true.
Well,
so
there's
I'm really
man. Okay, so I'll give you the easy answer, and then I'm going to give you the answer that ain't easy and is probably not workable. I'll give you the easy one first.
Okay.
You can tell her that this year it's just going to be a closed circle of certain friends in the past that you want to show your gratitude to because they've been in your life for a long time, and we're just going to have a closed little gathering. You know, thank you for thinking of coming, but we've had other people that wanted to come too, but we're just going to keep it to this group, and that's the way it is. Now, that's the easy part.
Oh.
You want the hard part?
Okay.
You want the hard part?
Let me hear it, yeah.
Trying to get her to understand that. There ain't no way. But you know, the good news is, here's the good news. You'll probably never have to worry about her ever coming to your Christmas dinner again because she will write you off.
Yeah.
But that is the simplest way to do it. You simply say this is a closed group, a circle, that we've done this forever, and these are people that I just want to show them my appreciation for so much that they've done in my life, and I'm keeping it very limited because I can't start inviting all kinds of folks, but I do appreciate you thinking of coming. So here's a couple of coupons to Taco Bell for Christmas Eve.
Okay. I love it.
See, that's the thing, Roseanne, the thing you're saying is, how do you make someone understand something that they have no desire to understand?
Yeah.
And you really don't.
She doesn't have a clue how she comes across to people. She doesn't. And I see it now that I've gotten to know her. I see it. And it's tough. She's not easy to be.
Well, here's the one thing I would say. I don't know your situation. Okay. However, as a general rule, most of us can probably be more tolerant of difficult people than we are.
Yes.
So for all those folks to say, no way, no how, she's there, I'm not. I don't know her. I don't know if she's punching people in the face. I don't know if she's cussing them out. She just may be an obnoxious, opinionated human being.
She is, yeah.
Okay. So for them to say, all right, okay, I can roll with her. I'm not going to get myself all bent out of shape. Unfortunately, I wish
they would do that.
That's it. I wish we Christians were a little more that way.
Exactly.
And unfortunately,
Yeah.
So, because look, it's like this. If people were more like that toward me, I'd get invited a few more places. I really would. I'd even have this radio show.
You know what? You could come to my house on Christmas Eve.
You better make sure your friends are accepting of that first. I've heard the guy. He's not coming. Thanks, Roseanne.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, my dear. Good luck in all this.
Thank you very much.
All right,
I
honey.
appreciate it.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, the old, how do I make them understand? There's an inverse relationship. The more difficult someone is, at least as you assess it, remember that now, difficulty is in the eye of the beholder. And if you don't believe that, you have to wonder how many people think you're the difficult one. Or maybe not a whole lot, but maybe there are people in your life who would categorize you as difficult, and you're thinking to yourself, what? How can that be? Me? Difficult? I'm one of the nicest persons I know. So if someone is, according to your assessment, difficult, they are less likely to accept something that they don't want to hear about themselves. That's just the way it is. Because if they could, they wouldn't be as difficult. Dan from Omaha, Spirit Catholic Radio. What's up, Dan?
Hi, Dr. Ray. How are you?
Okay, buddy. How badly do you disagree?
Good. It's actually a good time for me to call. I'm kind of a new listener, lifetime Catholic, and my wife and I kind of have different, I'm sure it's pretty common, but different parenting styles. And I kind of have a hard time seeing when the discipline isn't as important as I think it. Like, I think that there's no give. I feel like if I have a little give and I let him get away with stuff, then we're the ones in the restaurant causing everyone to leave. Like, it's kind of getting that way with our younger one, where he's able to just run around and scream, and I'm having a hard time kind of reeling him back in. Because
and your wife's number one rationale is, oh, come on, he's just being a kid.
Yep, absolutely. There's an excuse for everything.
How old is he?
And she gives it to him. He's 4. The other one's 11.
Ooh, is the 11-year-old giving you trouble too?
So the 11-year-old's more of the trouble. The 4-year-old, I still he's good, and I talk quiet, and he understands. The 11-year-old has a hard time because kind of he knows how to play us. You know, he's already learned that mom's easier, and that, you know, if he gets her coerced or convinces her, then she convinces me, and that's kind of how it works. But yeah, just certain things.
This has been going on for years, Dan. Dan, this has been going on for years. This isn't just you and your wife are disagreeing on how to handle a 4-year-old who's starting to push the limits. This is an 11-year-old who's been doing this for years.
Well, he hasn't been doing it as much up until recently with our second son. That's when things kind of got, you know.
Is it safe to say that on one hand, your wife views this as, well, come on, this is kids, you got to understand it, this is what they do, etc., etc. But on the other hand, she gets frustrated with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, because she's exhausted at the end of the day, and I try to tell her that if you explain it and just tell them why they can't do it, then it's actually easier. And you don't have to chase them around everywhere, because otherwise you're just doing everything for them, and you're serving them, not them.
Have you asked her?
Yeah.
Okay, I hate to put it this way. This is bad, but let's give it a try. Have you asked her, what would I be allowed to do that you would view as proper discipline if I see this 11-year-old giving you grief?
Yeah, I mean, I have. We talk about the different methods, and then agree upon discipline after the fact. Like if he did something at school, we agree on stuff like that, and we see eye to eye on a lot of that. But it's more like stuff when he gets home from school and he had disciplined yesterday, you know, for acting up or for being rude to his mom. The following day, she lets him go out and play instead of doing his homework first, or, you know, like...
So why do you let him go out and play?
Just certain little...
Why do you let him go out and play? Because you're not there.
And I let him play.
Why do you do that?
What's that? Yeah, because I'm at work still.
Huh? So if you came home...
Yeah, I let him play, but after his work's done.
So if you came home and you found out that she relented on the discipline, would you be allowed to do anything about it? Would you be able to say, well, since you went out and played, you're going to have to go to bed early tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. And then she backs me up. I mean, you know, I feel like it's more like the confrontation that she has trouble with.
All right, let me give you 3 levels
them
here.
To their face.
Let me give you 3 levels. The first is house rules. Sit down and decide. Take the 5 main discipline problems: disrespect, blowing off chores, mistreating a 4-year-old, arguing, whatever. Pick the 5 or whatever you think are the most prominent, and say, what's our house rule? Is he going to write 100 sentences every time he argues with you and gets disrespectful? Is that our house rule? Can you live with that? Is that okay? Get her to commit to that, so you don't have to every time decide what you're going to do. Here's the rule. Here's the consequence. Here's what we're going to do. That's 1. 2, my guess would be that she probably thinks that your discipline is too rough. And by that, I mean you get too loud, or you get intimidating. In other words, she's uncomfortable with whatever it is about your manliness in your discipline. Am I wrong?
No.
Okay. I was scared there for a second.
Not all the time, but sometimes.
I thought you were going to say I was wrong. Oh, whew, that was scary. It's like a lawyer. You don't ask a question of a witness if you don't know what the answer is going to be. I shouldn't have said, am I wrong? Because you could have said, yes, you're wrong. Then I would have hung up on you. Stay there. I want to talk a little bit more about this. 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL. Delighted to be back with you. I'm Dr. Ray.
Living the Beatitudes with Father Bjorn.
Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you're on a football team, you don't want to just run up and down the field holding the ball and never cross into the end zone and get a touchdown. We want to reach our goal, but there are a lot of obstacles, discouragement, and challenges along the way. Jesus' voice is the one calling us to say yes to him, to live the life that he is calling us to live. We have to choose one way or the other, choose him or not. But if we choose him, we will be opposed. We're going to have people challenge what we believe or call us crazy. But Jesus doesn't just say, come follow me, to follow a beatitude. He's calling us to be like himself. He is the Beatitudes. He doesn't just say, do what I say. He says, come follow me. He's with us every step of the way, transforming our weakness into strength. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
For more about the Beatitudes, visit EWTNRC.com.
When did Jesus reveal the existence of the Holy Spirit? Though the Lord alluded to the Spirit in speaking to Nicodemus and to the Samaritan woman, the Catholic Catechism tells us Jesus did not fully reveal the Holy Spirit until he himself had been glorified through his death and resurrection. Little by little, nevertheless, Jesus did also refer to the Holy Spirit, even when teaching to the multitudes, as when he says his own flesh will be food for the life of the world. When the hour for his glorification arrives, Jesus actually promises the arrival of the Holy Spirit. The Spirit of truth, the other Paraclete, says the Catechism, will be given by the Father in answer to Jesus' prayer. He will be sent by the Father in Jesus' name. This is Peggy Stanton, and this has been the Order of Malta's Minute with the Catechism.
You're listening to the least worst of The Doctor Is In with Dr. Ray Guarendi, so please, no calls at this time.
Women live in fear of going to a party, seeing somebody in the same outfit. The law is, the social rule is, one of them has to leave. Guys, if we go to a party, you see another guy in the same outfit, we could become friends for life. Nice shirt. Where'd you get that? Oh, yeah, I saw it. I got it over at Goodwill. I got it for $12. Get out of here. I paid $46 for mine. Yeah, I'll tell you where to get it. That's right. We can just talk about for an hour on why we look the same. Talking to Dan from Omaha, Nebraska. He's got an 11-year-old and a 4-year-old. And, oh, yeah, there's the standard. We don't see eye to eye on discipline. But there also is the standard. My wife gets very frustrated because she's trying to, make a little more allowances or to be kinder, gentler, or whatever it is that she would describe her parenthood. And, of course, when you're raising something difficult, like a child, and not a rabid Bengal tiger, the kids can push. And when the kids push, of course, if your discipline isn't strong and loving and firm, it can get ugly. And, of course, Mom gets ugly. And Dan don't want to say nothing because he's trying to tell her gently, if you did this, you wouldn't be so frustrated. You wouldn't have to go to confession every 12 minutes. All right, Dan, so we talked about the house rules. Ask her, sit down, let's say, I'll tell you what, honey. One, I don't like the way they treat you. Frame it that way. I really don't like the way he treats you. That's not right. And I'm going to stop it. Whether you want me to stop it or whether you don't, I'm going to stop it. So I'll tell you what. I want you to help me here put together a house rule on what we're going to do about A, B, C, D, whatever it is. Schoolwork has to be done before he goes outside. That's the house rule. If he breaks that, he goes to bed early. That's our house rule. It's simple. Okay. So set up the house rules. Secondly, ask her, am I allowed to step in? If you're locked into a battle with him and it's getting loud and you're getting borderline having to go to confession, can I step in? That's your mom you're talking to, and that is my wife. You go sit down, and I'm going to decide what I want to do about this. See if she allows you to protect her. Okay? The biggest thing is this. if I were to poll 100 wives, can you say wives anymore? I've been noticing that. You can't use the word wife anymore. You got to say partner. You got to say significant other. You got to say person. You can't say wife. Man, good. Hope she doesn't get upset. I've been hearing a lot of wives say that their discomfort with the guy's discipline is not so much the consequences, it's the style. In other words, we wait until we've had enough, and then we get loud, or we get intimidating, or we yell. And that's when they get uneasy. But if you were to say, son, you go sit down. You're going to write your mother a 200-word apology for talking like that. Now, you never raised your voice, Dan. And if she says, well, no, I don't agree, and then you can say, well, why don't you agree? Was he disrespectful? Well, yes. Well, then what's the problem? In other words, you're going to get her to explain, why don't I want you to do this? Because you didn't yell at him. You didn't threaten him. None of that. You just simply said, here's the price tag for doing what you're doing, son. Now, if all of that fails, Dan, all of it, and it could, I have a book called Discipline That Lasts a Lifetime. And it's on my website. It's discounted. It is signed. And it is the most popular discipline book that I have. And it deals with all this kind of stuff. So all I want to say to you, and only you know the answer to this, is $15 too much for you to bring peace to your wife and your home? That's all I'm going to say. Good luck to you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Anonymous. I don't know where she went. Where did you go? You went away, then you came back moments later. Where'd you go?
Hello?
Hello there, dear. How are you? You dropped off, and then you came right back.
Did.
What happened?
I had to attend to something for the family, and so I'm like, well, I'll try back now. So here I am.
You're telling me that your family is more important than talking to me? Is that what you're saying?
I was just, I bet you were going to question that, Dr. Ray, and I won't apologize.
Well, I'll tell you what, I may not be upset at you, but I'm probably not going to give you very good advice. Okay, so.
Oh, boy.
Now, well, thank you, dear, for calling back. Now, you got a friend. Well, you tell me what the situation is there.
Yeah, a good friend of many years, who is currently, well, still a widow of many years, probably about 12, and so my husband, him, his wife, we were friends as couples, and more specifically, I was very good friends with his now deceased wife. So we continue to befriend, and we're close to the family and love them all. It's great. They're a great family, and he's, for the most part, a very good and attentive dad. The concern is he seems to be neglecting the schooling of the younger kiddos, witnessed by friends, witnessed by his older children, and it's very bothersome, meaning I don't think there's a good preparation for life skills. There's a lot of life skills, but yeah.
How long ago did his wife die?
It'll be at 12 years.
Oh. So
yeah,
it would be something where you think that as with the older kids, he was a little more attentive about this, but with the younger kids, he's sort of losing gas?
He's hoping to honor his wife's wish that he could continue to homeschool, but doesn't have a good plan to do it, and is very reluctant to take all the advice and the help he's been offered.
Oh.
So that's concerning. I mean, generally, I guess what it just bothers me. He he doesn't like that people question his choices, but they're doing it out of love for him and his family. And there's a lady, he's tried to perhaps bring a woman into the home as a mother and a wife, and he just has these relationships that linger, and he doesn't know how to end them. But he knows they're not a good fit to complement what he's trying to accomplish.
Alrighty, my dear, can you stay right there? Not, unless you have something to attend to your family. But if you don't, if you took care of it, can you stay right there until I come back from the break? Can you do that, dear?
Yep.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo.
No one sees the face of abortion, in particular, because it's hidden by semantics, it's hidden by words, it's hidden by phrases, and these grandiose claims of, it's all about reproductive rights and the women, and women shouldn't be, forced to carry a baby to term, especially if they were victims of rape or incest. So you put all of these ideas in people's heads that this is all about the good of a woman, but not looking at the people involved, the baby, and of course, for example, a woman who we know from research, Dr. David Reardon was doing a lot of research on this area, that women who do conceive through rape and carry the baby to term and either keep the child or place it up for adoption are much better off mentally. Mental health, they can deal with that, they can heal much more quickly because two wrongs definitely don't make a right.
Catholic Connections, Teresa Tomeo. Weekdays, 9 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Christ is the answer with Father John Riccardo.
We just did our parish mission a couple weeks ago now, and I suggested that in the course of the mission that we do something like a little mini spiritual assessment of our lives. I don't have to show this to anybody, but a great chance for us just with real honesty, just between us and Jesus, ask ourselves some questions. First question, given the fact that half of Catholics don't think God is even personal, would be to ask ourselves that. Do I think God is personal? And then to ask myself, do I think a relationship with Jesus is possible? Do I have a relationship with Jesus? And if so, what's it look like? And then perhaps a little bit more awkwardly or painfully, to ask Jesus from his perspective, what's the friendship that we have with him look like? How would he describe our friendship with him? That might be a hard conversation to have.
Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Ray. You are listening to a least worst of. The doctor is in. We have no best of, but this is truly one of our least worst. My timing is way off. They teach you in Broadcast School 101 that you take a call and you complete the call and you offer hopefully some kind of nugget of advice with a closing statement as the music is playing for the break. And of course, I'm not doing that. I guess I see it as more important to keep talking. So I'm doing that. I have a anonymous caller from Iowa, line 1. As a friend, he's a widower. He's been a widower for 12 years. And let me lean over there and see. Okay, I got to shake that little cursor button there. He is apparently attempting to fulfill a promise that he made to his deceased wife of 12 years to homeschool the kids. Now, apparently the older kids did okay, but the younger kids, things are getting kind of sloppy. And our caller says we've tried to help him, tried to gather around him, tried to give him some guidance, and there's also complications because there are women that sort of float in and out of his life, and he reintroduces them to the kids, and then they disappear, and his choices aren't exactly the greatest. Caller, are you still there, dear?
I am.
Did I summarize that okay?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't want to give the impression there's women floating in and out of their home.
All right.
He's very selective about who he would.
He's selective of who he floats in and out. Okay, I got it. All right. No, I know what you're saying. Bad choice of words.
Yeah.
Bad choice. What I meant to say is there's been a few women coming in and out, and typically
that have been that have been introduced to the kids and family, and the current one is not a bad person at all. Just not meshing with the family. They don't care for her.
Do you
seems like
recall you said, and you'll have to forgive me for listening so attentively. It drives my wife crazy when I listen attentively because I can draw up a phrase or a sentence that she said and ask her to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you happen to recall what you said about his reaction to people trying to lovingly guide him?
He admittedly says he's stubborn and he wants to be independent.
Yes.
And so he does not. He doesn't take advice.
Right. In so many words, that's what you said. You said he doesn't like it.
Yes. Correct.
So why do you think everybody keeps trying to tell him?
I can speak for myself, and I'm thinking it's similar to other people. We want the best for his kids. We want the best for his family. We've befriended him and his family and when his wife was living for years, and that's hard for us to see the demise, you might say. Yeah, I don't know.
Have you noticed a stronger resistance to more and more people continuing to tell him things he doesn't want to hear?
I don't. Sometimes people don't. They tell me.
Oh, so they don't even tell him. They tell you, and you're the one that's got to take it to him. And, of course, you're the one that's...
Sometimes because I am seen as the one that has a close relationship. And, they feel like they've said something, but I can tell in the way they've told me. I'm like, he's not going to understand that. You got to be more direct.
Uh-huh. And so you've been more direct. You've been more direct, correct?
I have.
And he says, why, thank you. You know, I really appreciate that. You know, other people have tried to tell me, but I don't think they were clear. But you're very clear in telling me what I'm doing here that I need to change. He's probably said that, huh?
Oh, absolutely has not said that.
Oh, gosh, that's a shocker. Yes, I know. I guess what I'm saying here is it is his family, his kids, his life.
Yep.
And you say to
Absolutely.
yourself,
And
but why does it have to be that? You know you could never be a psychologist. Do you know that?
How so?
Well, because many, if not most of the people, don't do the things we talk about. And they come in various levels of misery and unhappiness and self-defeating conduct and thinking. And we, I believe, give some decent direction together, and they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to accept that.
And I want to get there, and I think part of my call was to not try to fix and make him understand.
You're right.
But because I think that's futile, obviously. I don't want to not befriend him if he doesn't agree with people's opinions. How do I let it go?
You be a friend with him, and you be a friend with him, and you quit giving him advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. I got a lot of friends that I have all kinds of ideas on how they could live their lives better. Do you think I say anything? No. Why? Because I know they don't want to hear it.
It's just hard to see the kids so miserable. And I don't think he would want the kids miserable.
Well, yes and no. Yeah, he's going to be forced to see that unless he starts to take a closer look at the way he's doing things, that those kids are going to let him know. You know, he might get away with that with a 6-year-old, but he ain't going to get away with it with a 15-year-old. He's going to see that 15-year-old start acting in ways that are making it real clear, hey, Dad, what's going on here? The kids have a lot more leverage than you do.
Yeah, so far that's not the case. They are well behaved, which is definitely wonderful.
Parole officer says some of the nicest kids he has. Yeah, I think that's the tough one. How do you be a friend when you simply say, I've got enough feedback that you don't want to hear what I have to say. You haven't asked for my opinion. You haven't said anything. You haven't come to me and said, hey, I'm having trouble with my 12-year-old. What do you think about this, and this? He hasn't done that. I got this nice lady that I really, really like, but 2 of my kids don't like her at all. What do you think I should do? He hasn't done that. And so you're in a situation.
He did at one time, but then I think he now doesn't appreciate the opinion.
He's got
and
too
what
many people telling him. Yepper.
Yeah.
I know, my dear. Just be his friend, and just don't say it.
Be a friend and take care of my family.
Yeah, pretty much. And then come to me and I'll tell you what to do different. Okay.
Sounds good.
Good luck to you, my dear. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Let me take a quick break and then be back.
The most amazing saints from modern times, John Paul II, Maximilian Kolbe, and Maria Faustina with the Divine Mercy. This is Steve Ray. We invite you to join us on a pilgrimage to Poland and experience this incredible Catholic country, the land of saints, Catholic culture, gorgeous churches and shrines, and delicious food. Join us next April as we again visit Poland, one of our favorite pilgrimage destinations.
Find the Ave Maria Radio travel tab at avemariaradio.net.
CMF Curo is a Catholic healthcare ministry providing families nationwide with a better solution centered around whole health, spirit, mind, and body. Our members share their medical burdens within a faith-filled community. At CMF Curo, our members have access to a spiritual director, concierge services, and other health and spiritual resources. Find out if CMF Curo is a better solution for your family. Visit mycatholichealthcare.com. That's mycatholichealthcare.com.
He was a pope, a saint, and a doctor of the Church.
Matthew Bunson and the Doctors of the Church.
Pope St. Gregory I the Great is one of only 4 popes honored as the Great. Among his many achievements was sending missionaries across northern Europe, especially St. Augustine of Canterbury, who brought Christ to the people of England. In a pun, Pope Gregory called the English people angels. He died in 604.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
This program brought to you in part by Ave Maria, Florida, a big kind of small town where golf carts take you everywhere and there's always something fun around the corner. Discover championship golf, resort-style amenities, and a town center full of shopping and dining. With Ave Maria University and Ave Maria Catholic Church at its heart, it's a community full of connection and charm. More than 25 model homes are available for viewing. More information can be found at avemaria.com. That's avemaria.com.
You're listening to the least worst of The Doctor Is In with Dr. Ray Guarendi. So please, no calls at this time.
One of the great things about being a guy, I have never been trapped, ever, by any of my buddies with the old, so, Ray, do you notice anything different about me? Never. They're grateful that I've just noticed that they're there. Dave is calling from California. Hi, Dave.
Ray, question. Got a 6.5-year-old grandson. When he was born, mom and dad were not together. Fairly 3, 4, 5 years of pretty good conflict between them. They now have kind of reconciled. They're together, but he's got some pretty significant oppositional. The 6-year-old has oppositional defiant issues. He's really, really smart. And so we're kind of thinking we'd like to find a counselor. He's done PCIT. Didn't really help that much. So we're kind of thinking.
Tell me, Dave, what's that stand for?
Parent-child intervention therapy. Parent-child intervention therapy.
I can't keep up with all the initials. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, and it focuses on the parent and the child connecting, but because of his intelligence and he's just hyperactive. My daughter does not want medications. We don't want medications. I'm an ex-judge. I don't want medications. So we're kind of looking, where can we find counseling to help them to learn how to deal with this? And
Who has
from a holistic
custody?
standpoint.
Who has custody?
They're both living together, so they have joint custody. So the mom and dad are together now, so that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. A couple of things that you said. First of all, somebody diagnosed this little guy oppositional defiant disorder, right, Judge?
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
and it's
so
a
no
good
no particular professional flung that label on him.
No.
Okay, good, because that label is really kind of misleading. All it basically says is that this little guy's got a bunch of behavior problems. He's kind of more defiant than normal. He's more challenging than normal. He does things that are more unsocialized, defiant kind of stuff for quote-unquote a 6-year-old boy. That's all it says. That's all it says. It's just a summary label. It's meaningless. That's the first thing. Second thing is 90+% of the time, when you got a kid that is that kind of defiance at 6 years of age, how do I put this gently, Judge? It's the parents. They're not doing the things they need to do to bring this child under control. It's not that they're bad parents necessarily. It's just that they may be underestimating the kind of consistency, the kind of firmness, the kind of loving care that they got to have for this kid. That's really it. I mean, I get hundreds of 6-year-olds in my office, and the parents say, I don't know how to control him. He's just so out of control. He's been diagnosed with this. He's been diagnosed with that. They're talking ADHD, and he's been kicked out of kindergarten, and it's just awful and terrible. I don't know what's wrong with my kid. It's terrible. We're trying to change his diet. I don't know what to do. The vast majority of the time, if somebody puts these parents back in charge, they'll come in 2-3 sessions later and go, I don't know who this child is. I'm living with a different human being. I go, yeah, you're right. Because he's only 6. And when you allow this stuff to get out of control like this, and especially given his early history where his parents were battling all over the place, I'm not shocked that the kid would be pushy. And if he's a bright kid, okay, so he's a little more slick. Okay, got that. Good. Make a good criminal, right, Judge? So they need a therapist for them, not him. That's why that approach didn't work, this quote-unquote connection, unless it's geared toward putting the parent in loving charge of this kid. Then all the talk therapy in the world for a little 6-year-old behavior problem kid is not going to work. It doesn't work at all. So the search here, Judge, is to find a counselor willing to do that. There's the problem. Most counselors will see the child, or most counselors will say, let's do some family therapy, and when he gets angry, what do you do? Do you express with an iMessage how you're frustrated with his behavior? And they do all that kind of stuff, and it doesn't work. Here's a simple thing that I got to hurry here, Judge. Simple thing I might do. Say your daughter comes into my office, and I say to her, what's your grandson's name, Judge?
Phoenix.
Phoenix, okay. He rising from those ashes that he was stuck in initially. Okay. I would ask her, if you told Phoenix, that was mean, you go stand in the corner, please. Just like that. What would happen? Now, I guarantee you, Judge, she's going to say, oh, no, he won't go. Or he'll go, but he'll throw a fit. Or he'll scream and cry for 2 hours. Or he'll melt down. Or he'll look at me like, who's going to make me? Am I accurate on that?
Yes.
I'll say. So I would look at her and I'd say, dear Mom, you have no authority. And when you have no authority with a child, depending upon the child's temperament, it can get real ugly real fast. And in the vast majority of the cases, there's nothing wrong with this child. The parenting needs to be changed. Now, that's the good news. I mean, if they can do that, I have a whole bunch of books on that, Judge, on my website. I don't want to keep pushing my books here, but when you run into something like this, the books talk so much more than I can give you here in 3.5 minutes. All righty, sir. Thank you for the call. The clock is telling me to be quiet. Thank you for joining me here on The Doctor's In. I appreciate the company so very much. Andrew Kruchek, producer man, Eric Dumont, call screamer man, and you, once again, back live with ya. Walk with God.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.